Button.
Well, hello everybody, and thank you for joining us again here at HILCO Homes. We're at the headquarters here in downtown San Antonio. It's another beautiful evening here, and the team is still hard at work at 8:30 p.m. We figured we'd do another quick video on explaining how to give a seller value of the property within 2 to 5 minutes of talking to them on the phone. So I'm Hernando Arce with Acquisitions Partner here at HILCO Homes. We have Alex Estrada on the 1-2s. And we also have a production manager here, Anthony, with us, joining us. We're doing more videos. So what we want to show you here quickly, the point of this video is to show you how to give a seller, when you're cold calling a seller, you want to give the seller a price, and you want to get a price from the seller on the first conversation, right, Alex?
Yes, sir.
So we got 3 windows opened up over here. The first window is your BCAD, your tax assessment website. I spoke a little bit about it in the last video we just did, and you're gonna plug in the address of the property. And what you wanna do on the first, let me step back a little bit. You're making the phone call, you got the caller on the phone, you got the seller on the phone. She says hello, you say hello, you wanna make an offer, you wanna buy a property. All right, before you do that, you wanna go to Google Map. Go ahead, Alex. So while you're dialing the number, you're looking at the property. All right, from the outside, you're getting the feel of what's around the property, how big the lot size is, what the condition of the house is. This is step 1, okay, before the BCAD. So you here with this property, you see it's got a nice frontage, it's got a driveway, looks like the garage was converted. That's key for later on when you go walk the property. You look at what's the neighbors like, okay? You can even pan up with GMAP and look what's behind it, what's around it. You want to get a feel of what the property looks like. Very key, very key. So once you've done that, you're like I said, you're calling the seller. Mr. Seller picks up the phone, and they're like, okay, yes, introduce yourself. I'd like to buy your home. Do you have a price in mind? Most sellers say no, they don't have a price in mind, and they want to hear your offer. So, okay, Mr. Seller, I'll make you an offer. Now, what? Tell me a little bit about the property is the next question you're gonna ask them. Now, once they start talking about their property, that's you to go and get onto BCAD, plug in the address in BCAD, and find out that if it's a true 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom, you're gonna find out by going down and looking at the square footage. The square footage is gonna tell you whether it's which is a big property or not in terms of interior square footage. So here we have, go ahead.
No, it's up.
1,277 square feet. Living area, not lot size, guys. You gotta look at the interior living space. The lot doesn't have much value, is the interior of the building, okay? And then you can scroll down and get an idea of the value, what the city assesses it for in terms of value. Okay, the last one is $78,000. That's gonna give you an idea where you may need to be in price when you make your formulas. So right there, boom. Now she's finishing talking about the house. You're taking notes as you're reading this and saying, okay, the kitchen needs remodeling, the bathroom needs fixing, the foundation needs work, etc., the roof, electrical. Now what you want to do is go to Zillow. Alex, Zillow. Okay, Zillow is the 3rd website that's critical when you're giving the seller a price. Zillow, although it's not written in stone, yes, we all understand that the value is not written in stone. I get it, guys. But it's going to give you an idea of where we need to be in the ballpark in terms of what is the value of the property. Here, you see it's $98,000. You're going to say, round it off to $100,000. And you're going to confirm the square footage here. Very key. You want to confirm the square footage with the BCAD. And now you see 3 bedrooms and 1 bathrooms. Guess what? The seller already told you that on the phone 30 seconds ago. So it's all putting the pieces of the puzzle all together. You also want to just see if it's indeed on the market. It's not on the market, so it's not on MLS. Good. Scroll down. You just want to take a quick look when it was built, how big the lot size is, and some other fun facts that you may want to use, that you may need to give the seller a price. All right. So now with that information, we're going to go ahead and do the formula. Now you got the seller on the phone right now, remember, so you want to keep the conversation flowing. You don't want to, stop the conversation. You're going with the flow. You're asking her personal questions of why she's selling, et cetera, and now you're jumping into the formula. So that property, you remember, it was 100,000. So now you know at 100,000, you need to multiply that by 75%. Okay, at 75%, ARV, that's gonna give you a price of $75,000, right? 75% of 100,000 minus the rehab. You're gonna ballpark it at 30,000 from what they told you on the phone on how much work it needs, plus you confirm that with the GMAP. Today's GMAPs are pretty accurate because they were done a year ago, 2 years ago. So with that, you add your fee. Don't forget, you wholesalers out there want to get paid, right? Put your fee on top of the 30, that's 35, and now you have a price to offer the seller. So what is that? What does that come out to, Alex, in terms of ballpark? And Alex is going to join us right now in a minute and explain to you why it's important to offer a seller a range, not an exact dollar amount. And that pretty much wraps up what I wanted to say. Those 3 websites are key when you're on the phone, and you got to give the seller a price on the first conversation. Do not and don't ever say, I'll call you back with a price. Take control of the situation and offer the price right there and then. Close it. Go ahead, Alex.
Okay. Woo woo! Awesome. I couldn't wait to get on this. So the reason why you always want to do a price range is because you want to use the strategy to set up the seller for a lower number. So let's just say, the seller is asking price 92, right? And the fact that you didn't give them an exact number, after you did your formula, you told them at 45, right? So if you tell a seller 40, you know what, I could be at 45,000. Does that work for you, seller? Well, yeah, you know what, fine, sure. And when you go over there and you determine that the rehab is a lot less, like a little bit more, and you have to be closer to 40 or 35, right? And you tell them, well, you know what, based off of the rehab and the bid from my GC, I determined that I actually had to be at 40 or less. And so what this is going to do is I really piss off the seller. I know if somebody told me a price, an exact price, and then they come out and I'll give you an example. So I used to sell a lot of stuff off of Craigslist, right? I had this one specific situation where I had this truck that I was trying to get rid of, and people would agree to the phone, over the phone on my price, and when they would come and see it, they tell me, oh, you know what, I actually got to be a lot lower. Well, what that did was piss me off, right? And that's what you don't want to do with your seller, okay? Is piss off your seller, right? It's about building rapport. It's about setting expectations. And in general, it's about just having control. So that's why I preach to a lot of sellers that, you need to give them price ranges. So, because when you tell a seller, if you tell a seller, hey, I need to be at 45, they're going to hang on to that, all right? And that's what you don't want to do. But what you want to do is, the fact that you really didn't do the fact that you ran quick numbers, you kind of want to be conservative and make sure that the deal and the walkthrough is set up for success. You want to set yourself up for success. So by giving a seller a price range, you already prepped that seller for the lower number. So if I go out there and I tell them, oh, I got to be at 45 to 40, and when you go see it, you're like, hey, you know what, I actually got to be, can you put that back up, please? Thank you. I actually got to be closer to 40, so at 41. Well, you know what, they're like, oh, you know what, okay, that's fine. I can do that. Boom, you got them. Versus you tell somebody a price point, an exact price point, and then you go out there and you have to be lower. Well, that's just going to piss them off, okay? So don't do this. Number 2, since I'm already doing the video, I also want to stress out that if you're making a lot of calls and you're doing quick formulas like this, I'm assuming you're doing a big call list, right? And so when you get sellers telling you to go out there and see or go drive by, don't do that, okay? You're gonna find out a lot of these sellers just gonna waste your time. They just wanna know how much they wanna get for it, and they're not really motivated, right? So what I do is, and what Mr. Romero, my mentor, showed me is, if they're not willing to be within $10,000 of where you need to be, don't see it. Right? But if you're within $10,000, so if I'm giving them 45 and they're at 50 or 55, I'll go see it. To me, that's motivation enough, because I'm confident in my negotiation skills to get them where I need them to. And hey, you know what? The rehab there's a possibility rehab might not be that bad, right? So I go out there and see it. But you can always fit this criteria to 5,000 within where you need to be, all right? Or 10,000, wherever your comfortability is at. So I believe if Okay, well, I guess that's all we have. We're actually going to be doing a third video. This one's going to be called skip tracing. So stay tuned. We appreciate and love y'all. And don't forget, January the 10th, Thursday, 10 a.m., we are going to be doing a deep dive wholesale event. So go to HILCO Homes, register for the event, and we will see you out there. God bless.